Have you ever stopped and wondered what you're actually going to leave behind when you leave this life? Now, there's the physical things. There's a house, it could be finances, all kinds of things like that. But more than that, not just the money and not just the things. Have you thought about what you'll be leaving behind? I've thought about it a lot. I had a lot of experience growing up with going to funerals, but then there was a thing that happened to me when I was 23. My father died suddenly. He was 47. And that was a shock. And it really affected me in a big way. I was happy for him. He really, really, really loved God. And I knew that he was just happy to be home with the one he loved so much. But he was just 47. And I was 23. And my mother was devastated. And it was really hard for her. It was just a difficult situation. I was in Korea. My husband, military, and he had a remote tour, so he was supposed to be there alone. But I went over with my baby, who had just been born. I was there for 3 months. So my son was 6 months old when my dad died, and I was in Korea. And then we had to leave, and we had to fly back. And it was a long flight, and it was hard, and it was sad. And there you are, just sitting there thinking, I'm not going to see my dad again. I love my dad, you know. It was very hard. It was devastating. It wasn't like growing up and going to a bunch of funerals growing up. A lot of the time we spent growing up were celebrations of people's life, and it was hard. But it wasn't like when my dad died. But he did leave me a legacy. And it wasn't financial. My mom was still alive. There was not any transfer of finances. I did get his hat. I still have his hat. I love that. But his love for God and for the Word of God, he was always reading the Word. And his belief in me, and belief in who I would become, his integrity, the fact that he loved truth. There are lots of things. It was just, I loved my dad, and it was hard. But he did leave this legacy. And there was this one day, I had this one line in the middle of a conversation. And it was like, if I can remember it exactly, probably not, but he said, if you find that what you believe, or if you find that who you are or who you've become does not line up with the Word of God, then you change. And I was like, oh, if what I believe or who I am or who I'm becoming doesn't line up with the Word of God, I should change. Line up. And it was not like, wasn't a bad thing, it was great because it gave me freedom. It gave me freedom to change my thinking. It's like, well, what if my thinking didn't quite align with what my dad thought? Well, that's okay because I can have my own thought. And I could grow as a person. I could take a look at myself and say, that does not line up. I can choose something different. And that one line, it actually was like a foundational line in my life. It was a legacy, something he gave me. He gave me belief in me. You know, he gave me those other things. That one line really was one of the legacy, like maybe a cornerstone or one of the walls, I don't know, but it was very powerful. So anyhow, the legacy that you have, that I have, that we are building. We're building it now. It's not just something that happens when you're older and you figure out, oh, I don't have any, I'm leaving, and everybody gets to have, split the money and all that kind of stuff. That's fantastic. But it's more than that. It's the life that you do live and the influence that you have. And I found this quote I just wanted to read. I couldn't memorize it, but I put it right here so I could see it. It says, love, real love, is not only about what you give to the people you love while you're with them. It's also about what you build for them or what you impart to them quietly, daily, behind the scenes, the way you live, so that when you are gone, they will have somewhere to stand. It's like building character in people, and that it can outlast the money. Even if they have an inheritance, it can outlast that, because inheritance can go away too. Things can happen, but who a person becomes, it's like that's a great legacy. If you have kids that you go, oh man, I just love who they're becoming. And it's sad if you have a child and they're not becoming what you hoped. A good legacy is a fantastic thing. Now, imparting things to people, you give, they receive, and they can steward it. They can receive it or reject it, but at least you can intentionally live a certain way, and then they have an opportunity to receive it and steward it, and they can grow from that too. And if you were steward what you've been given, whether it's finances or house or an education or something that you receive from somebody, the encouragement or the belief in you and the character that you have developed from watching somebody demonstrate it. If you steward that well, you can influence a lot of people too. So if you live your life with intention, make the good choices, you can have a great legacy. So if you're young, you might think, well, I've got all my whole life. Well, a lot of people, when they get to about middle age, they look back at their young years and go, well, that wasn't the best choice. But even if you did mess up, there's always a future. You can start now and choose to live intentionally and in a positive way, and impart the things that are good and lovely to other people. And later in life, some people will say, oh, you're later in life. Well, I guess I'm later than most people that are alive, but not all. And from what I hear, Moses lived till he was 120. And I figure that's a good goal, maybe a little more. And if not, oh well, I just could keep on living. We don't retire, we just keep living. I love living life. And so the question is, what are you quietly building for those who are coming after you, or those who you're encountering now? What are you doing with your life? How are you choosing to live? And so I'm just going to ask that question for you to think about for this week. What are you building? What's going to stand after you're gone? And I go back to my dad's one statement. There was a lot of other things about him, but that one statement really stuck. He didn't know that one sentence was going to be like a foundation for my living. He just lived life. He was faithful and continued day by day being a man of integrity and being present and loving his family. That's a great legacy. So I encourage you to think about this.